See, it's not about the wins in this situation, and it's not about the knockouts. It's about the knockouts of who. Now, I'm not a Deontay Wilder hater. I'm not a Al Haymon fighter hater. I'm not a black fighter hater, because it seems like when it comes to the African American fighters of this generation, I am often very critical. And that's because a lot of them, or the most popular ones, are Al Haymon fighters. But when it comes to the 6'6", 230-pound Deontay Wilder, 31-0 with 31 knockouts, you hear it and you're like, he's not 31 wins, he knocked out everybody. But when you look at the record and you look at the notable opponents, the only people that are there are Malik Scott and Ollie Harrison. The Malik Scott fight, his last fight back in March of this year on the undercard of Danny Garcia versus Mauricio Herrera, it was a suspect knockout. If you don't know what I mean by suspect, suspect is a term used for where something's not right, something's not sitting right with you. So what I'm saying is, in a large majority of fans' eyes, that fight looked fixed. It looked fixed. Because even if you're watching HD and the slow motion replays and you see Malik Scott just sitting there leaning on the ropes like, you know, this is the day and age where people are doing, you got the Photoshop, you got Instagram, you got memes, you got HD television, you know, screenshotting and all that. Fans dig deep, deeper than they ever had access to before, you know, I would say 2009 or so, 2010, 2011. So, Deontay Wilder, let me just get to the point. On August 16th, 2014, he's going to be taking on a fighter by the name of Jason Gavern, 6'2". Record is 25-16 with 11 knockouts and 4 draws, if I'm correct. But he's got 16 losses, only 11 knockouts. He's been knocked out 7 times. Let me tell you who ran down on him. Michael Sprott ran down on him. Amir Mansour. Alexander Ustinov, the guy who's supposed to fight Tyson Fury. Who else? Steve Cunningham. You know, he did beat James Toney in his last fight. He beat James Toney, this James Toney, not the James Toney. Forget where I'm going with this. So, there's really nothing to talk about with this guy. This guy's basically just a stepping stone, a tune-up fight. The fight was just put together about 2 weeks ago. Right now it was August 13th, 2014. Actually, like a week ago. And you have to ask yourself, wait a minute, isn't he the #1 contender for the WBC Heavyweight title, the heavyweight title, the one with Muhammad Ali on it? Bermane Stiverne has that belt. Bermane Stiverne fought Chris Arreola twice. The first fight was to get a shot at Vitali Klitschko before he retired. So Chris Arreola gets his fucking nose broken, quote unquote. Yeah, I broke your fucking nose. Bermane Stiverne, you got to see the press conference if you know what I'm talking about. In the first fight. Then in the second fight, he knocked him out. Vitali Klitschko was gone, so they said, well, y'all was fighting for the #1 contender, so now both of y'all fight for the belt. But Bermane Stiverne is the heavyweight champion right now. You got Wladimir Klitschko, who is the best boxer, and that's who I rank people up against. I say, can these guys beat Wladimir Klitschko? But we're going to get to that. You got Wladimir Klitschko, who has the WBO, the WBA, I guess all those WBA belts, whatever they are, the IBF, you know, and the IBO. So that's all basically the major heavyweight belts. He's got all of them. And then he wants his brother's belt back. Because remember, nobody beat Vitali Klitschko for that belt. But Bermane Stiverne has it. And now Deontay Wilder is the #1 contender. But you're thinking, well, why did I fight him next? You know, last I heard, the WBC was going to order a purse bid in September. So which means, it looks like to me that the Al Haymon fighter, Golden Boy fighter, his team can't do business with, if I'm correct, Bermane Stiverne is Don King, can't do business with the Don King fighter, even though Bermane Stiverne has full access to the Mayweather gym now, you know, so it just doesn't make sense to me why Deontay Wilder would be taking this fight, because, like I said, look at the wins, you know, and look at the quality of competition. I look at him like this. I say, what happens in round 8? How does Deontay Wilder look in round 8? You know, when there's a fighter that he can't knock out. And we have to see his other skills. Can he adjust? See what I'm saying? So people are seeing Deontay Wilder's good. Man, he gonna knock Wladimir Klitschko out. Tyson Fury ain't shit. He beat up Vitali. And I'm hearing this stuff. Man, if Mike Tyson was still boxing today, I'm like, because I don't see, what do you base this? What do you base this off? Until he fights a credible opponent that can punch, you know, and I'm going to say, I'm going to throw some names out there. See what's going on with Robert Helenius, even though he's got some promotional issues. You know, you got Chris Arreola, of course, Bermane Stiverne, your #1 contender. Tyson Fury, Dereck Chisora. You know, who else? Alexander Povetkin, Kubet Pulev. He's fighting Vladimir in September. Yeah, that can happen. You know, and I'm just throwing, you know, hell, call the Alexander Ustinov guy. 29-1, 21 knockouts. I'm just throwing out names that he could be fighting. Steve Cunningham, even though he'll probably beat Steve Cunningham. But I'm throwing Bryant Jennings, Mike Perez. You see where I'm going with this? So until he starts fighting guys like that, you know, to me, he hasn't passed his rites of passage yet. Bermane Stiverne for Chris Arreola twice. Bryant Jennings for Mike Perez. You get where I'm going with this? You know, so I'm just looking at this fight. Of course, I'm going to be here. I cover every single major fight live. T-Street Controversy live. I have no problem with Deontay Wilder, but I just need to see more. And what I mean is, when I need to see more, I need to see him going up against credible competition. It's not fat people. You know, you can't keep beating up on fat people and thinking it's cool. You know, you thought you was going to just get away with the whole Malik Scott thing, and people will be like, oh, well, he did beat Malik Scott. No, it wasn't choreographed correctly. If it was choreographed. But I'm going to say, please subscribe. I cover every single major fight live, all access, basically everything involving boxing. You know, it's a takeover, but I've talked about it in the past. T-Street Controversy live. Stop video. I was trying to do my little voice.